The Orflame calls us to the safe lane. 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 The Orflame calls us to the sea. To a lost wreck that still draws ghostly breath. A curse down below. With my lanterns, we can explore the sea floor. We must find the source of the Orflame before the brine rot. Somewhere in the blackest depths, bounty and death await. Come find your fortune in the depths of the sea.
Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile, and welcome to GGG Live. We have massive changes to show you today with Path of Exile Curse of the Orflame, which is coming out next week on July 25th. Twitch drops are enabled on today's livestream, so you'll be able to claim your Abyssal Soul Shatter rare finisher effect by following the instructions below. Let's not keep you waiting though. Roll the trailer for Path of Exile Curse of the Orflame. In today's stream, we'll be walking you through all the details of Path of Exile Curse of the Orflame. We'll comb the ocean floor, discovering sunken artifacts of forgotten origins, fight the horrors of the deep, and do your best to keep from being crushed by the waters above you. We're revisiting some familiar mechanics to bring new life to systems that have begun, perhaps, to show their age. Abyss and Legion will both be receiving significant upgrades, including a new pinnacle boss for Abyss, and a new chase crafting system for unique items in Legion. In addition to revamps of the existing leagues though, we're also bringing back some old friends. The Mercenaries of Trathus are making their way back to Rayclast. Then we'll explain our new endgame system, where you'll join Kirak in investigating anomalies appearing on the Atlas. After that, we'll discuss the character and skill balance coming in Curse of the Orflame. Finally, we'll cover our new set of supporter packs, after which we'll have a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will interview Path of Exile's game director Mark, as well as game designers Octavian and Andrew, answering your questions from Twitch chat. After the livestream, we'll drop the full patch notes at 11 AM NZT. So let's get started. I'll hand things over to Mark to introduce the new league.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. In Path of Exile Curse of the Orflame, a long-forgotten mystery has begun to stir beneath Rayclast seas. Hidden in the icy depths lie strange and immensely powerful treasures, waiting for those bold enough to claim them. Meet Valerie, a dangerous Corsair captain who needs boots on the ground and on the sea floor to help her retrieve these treasures and unlock their potential. This is where you come in, to help her find the charts scattered across Rayclast. Then, use those to guide her ship to the patch of brine that holds loot for the taking. In return, you'll get a cut of the profits. These lost charts are guarded by the undead, rival Corsairs, or horrible creatures of the deep. Each of these monster encounters will also have a custom bonus for defeating the enemies. For example, successfully defeating the accursed undead that guard this treasure chest will cause the grateful trapped soul inside to grant you its power, possessing you and granting you ghastly power for the rest of the area. Once a chart is in hand, you'll board the good ship, the Sovereign, Valerie, or Val's reappropriated Oriathan naval vessel. Here, Val introduces you to the heart and soul of her ship, quite literally. Vesper, another Pondium native like Val, is bound to this ship. His soul burns with the Allflame's curse, and were his comatose body to be removed from the ship, he would surely die. The silvery apparatus that lines the bows and eaves of the vessel allow him to steer the Sovereign anywhere in Wraeclast's waters. Using the chart you've brought, Vesper can navigate to a location so you can scout it for Val, and while doing so, claim whatever treasures there might be. How, though, will you avoid a watery grave once sunk below? Vesper controls a spark of the Allflame, a powerful and mysterious magic, which has been imbued into a number of devices aboard the ship, chief among them the bathysphere. This entirely safe and well-tested contraption of rivets, bolts, and metal will be your ticket beneath the waves to explore and plunder. While scouting the depths, in order to not need an ample supply of air, we're instead going to place Allflame lanterns. These are conduits of the power that keeps Vesper alive and bound to the ship, and give you the temporary safety you need to do that exploring. Without them, you will drown. The first of these is strapped to the bathysphere and activates on landing, rushing the water away to reveal horrifying monstrosities, lost treasures, and a strange luminous coral growing from the corrupted dead in the oceans of Wraeclast. These strange growths are the real reason Val has asked you to plumb these waters, as the coral can be broken down into dead man sulfur, the fuel that keeps Vesper's light burning. As you get to the perimeter of the safety provided by an Allflame lantern, Val will drop more down at your request. There's also an option available to have new lanterns fired automatically for you as soon as you need them, if you prefer speed over fine control. Explore and claim what you can while you can. Lost fortunes of gold, chests of valuables, and lurking threats all lie in wait for you beneath the waves. You might even find the odd lost missive, waylaid on its travel to its intended recipient. But hey, finders keepers, right? Beware though, as Vesper can only power so many lanterns at once, and that power is finite. On placing the last of your lanterns, they will begin, one by one, to flicker and fade, and the creatures of the deep will rush in as they sense the vanishing of the light. You'll have to rush back to the safety of the bathysphere, escaping the cold clutches of creatures that despise the light you bring. You'll want to place every lantern though, as exploring to collect enough Deadman sulfur is the only way to successfully chart the area for the next step, planning a voyage. Val will keep a record of the areas you've charted, storing details in her journals. Once you've charted enough areas, just talk to Val, place your charts on Val's board, connect them together, and create one giant seafloor excursion. Each area you chart will reveal a special modifier that applies when it is used as part of a voyage, applied to either the charts adjacent to it or the whole voyage. Here are a few examples. This modifier causes all equipment dropped by monsters in adjacent charts to be converted to gold. This modifier will spawn friendly jellyfish alongside every pack of monsters in your voyage, which you will promptly slaughter for extra loot and experience, we're sure. This modifier causes all monsters in adjacent charts to be empowered by Wildwood Wisps. With 9 positions on your board for charts when constructing a voyage, these can stack up fast. There are also charts which can take you to specially rewarding areas of the ocean floor. Fields of anchors strewn with treasure chests full of loot, Kalguran shipments lost at sea, and sunken abyssal pits teeming with monsters, to name just a few. There are even some ancient artifacts you might find and resurface. Additionally, the edges of the voyage board track the currents of corruption flowing through the waters of Wraeclast. with randomized effects being rolled with each new voyage to affect the charts placed adjacent to them. These add even further rewards to your voyages, and can shake up the way you choose to place your charts. Stack all of that together, and a well-planned voyage, with a bit of luck, can be a very profitable endeavour. But with so much loot to claim, how are you going to get it all to the surface? Val has a solution for just that problem. In each of the charts that comprise your voyage, there will be a capsule waiting for you, sent down by Val, which can store about an inventory worth of loot. Stuff these full, send Val a signal, and she will pull it back up to the surface, safe and sound. Since voyages are built of 9 charts, that's a lot of opportunities to send back plenty of valuables. Once you're satisfied with the plunder from your well-planned voyage, find any of these capsule locations and call the bathysphere to it as your ticket out. Val will send it down to your rescue, as fast as she can. You just need to survive until it gets there. Good luck! Once you do, don't forget to empty all those capsules full of loot. Now, back to all that dead man sulfur that you've been hard at work gathering. Is that just to keep the Sovereign afloat and Vesper alight? No, it's not. Once you've got a bunch of it, head below decks, and you'll find the heart of the ship at work. Whilst Vesper's body remains above deck, burning away in a contraption of tarnished pipes and corpse-stained glass resides Vesper's soul, and you'll find him to be a pretty crafty fellow, if a bit melancholy. That's where this league's item crafting system comes into play. Give Vesper an item, alongside a currency that you could normally use on that item, and an ample supply of Deadman's sulfur. That item is then split into a multitude of ghostly forms, each of which will be the result of having applied that currency to the original item. You can then pick which of the ghostly outcomes you like best to keep for yourself.
That's why I love you.
The others
Small
will
Twitch
go up in
just bought
smoke,
catnip for
as Vesper
13
can
months.
only reify
Mia
a
watching
single
the better
outcome.
arc.
This can be done with almost any crafting step you'd like. Want to see a few outcomes for that influenced exalted orb? Perhaps you've got a particularly expensive fossil combination you want to get maximum value out of. Do be wary though, as the more potent the craft, the more sulfur Vesper will require to see it done. That's not all, however, as the seafloor hides some yet undiscovered potential in the form of rare and valuable ducats. These can be consumed by Vesper to warp and twist items in ways not seen in centuries, such as Kishara's Ducat, which creates 4 ghostly copies of an item, each of which will keep 1 mod from the original, perfect for creating powerful crafting bases. The Gentile's Ducat, which can solve item or gem requirement problems by changing one attribute to another. And Brine Hook's Ducat, with which you can become an emissary of the gods of Rayclast. Who knows what these aspects might do? These Ducats come from special types of charts, so keep an eye out for them on your travels throughout Rayclast. You may even find some that lead you to notably unwelcoming waters. So that covers the new league, and for the first time in Path of Exile, we're finally going under the sea. Some might even say this is the first real boat league. But that's not all, not even close. Next up, we've got an old favourite making a return. The mercenaries of Trathus are once again roaming Rayclast, looking for hapless fools to duel. Mercenaries will start appearing from Act 3 in San. Before beginning a duel, you'll be offered an overview of the mercenary you've encountered. Here, you can see the gear they have equipped and the skills they employ. As per the Trathan Code, you have the right to wager for an item the mercenary is carrying. You'll stake some of your gold, and the duel commences. The mercenary will teleport out. Go the spoils. In addition, if you win the duel, the mercenary will aid you as an ally for a number of areas. Trathan mercenaries are powerful allies to have in Rayclast, assisting in a number of ways. Some mercenaries can provide you with powerful auras and buffs, while other mercenaries can do all the killing for you. While in map areas, if you don't like anything the mercenary offers, you have the ability to request their warrant. A warrant is a promise to return and duel again at a later date. Well, you can, but only if you are a Scion. For the second time in 6 months, the Scion is getting a new Ascendancy class, the Luminary. The Luminary is a natural leader, lighting the way for others to follow. Becoming a Luminary immediately lets them allocate the Noble Blood passive, allowing them to permanently hire any mercenary they find in Rayclast. Luminaries can have up to 3 permanently hired mercenaries, 2 in reserve in towns and hideouts, and 1 as an active ally in combat. Unlike with regular mercenaries, you can change the items permanently hired mercenaries have equipped, opening up innumerate potential build possibilities. By default, permanently hired mercenaries cannot be equipped with unique items, but these passives enable them to equip specific types of uniques, while the Legendary Arms passive empowers mercenaries that have many different unique items equipped. Luminaries have the flexibility of becoming a support character to their mercenary, or having their mercenary support them. The Oath of Fealty and Golden Glory passives empower your mercenary by using your link skills on them. The Loyal Bodyguard and Bestowed Knighthood passives enable your mercenary to protect you in combat, as well as enhancing their aura skills. As with any old league that we add to the core game, we have added full Atlas Tree and Scarab support. Here are just a few examples. These passives allow you to much more easily target the specific types of mercenaries you want showing up in your maps. The Loot and Pillage passive gives mercenaries a chance to drop all their items when defeated, instead of just the one you selected. The Trathan Scarab of Renown makes it so the spawned mercenary is covered head to tail in unique items. And the Trathan Scarab of Infamy, the Allflame update were made to improve the gameplay significantly. In Curse of the Allflame, the majority of those changes will be making their way back to Path of Exile 1. The existing Abyss content had some notable problems. Aside from being very dated, it also required the player to follow a crack as it opens, often backtracking throughout already cleared areas. Now, as you approach an abyssal pit, and the cracks leading up to it, you will find that it is already open and spilling forth abyssal energy into the surrounding area, subjugating the souls of enemies unlucky enough to be within its influence. Slaying these enemies will send those souls spiraling down into the pit, drawing the attention and ire of the minions of. Sockets, at a basic level, don't have colors anymore. You can now put any colored gem into any socket. We're doing this to address a long-running issue for both new and experienced players. I'm sure almost everyone who has played before has run into the issue of finding a notable upgrade and have struggled to find a way to equip it. Maybe you find an amazing body armor, one that would give you a substantial boost to your defenses, but you just can't move your skill or support gems over because the colors of the sockets just don't match, and you didn't luck out with your chromatic orbs. It's not fun when you have to unequip a bunch of skills or supports just to use a better item. This can still happen with the socket numbers and socket links, so it's not like it's just purely trivial, but the colors were just unnecessary, and not only prevented upgrading gear, it limited build experimentation. So, given that, what do the colors on gems with regards to sockets even now mean? Well, the colors on gems for sockets are still relevant, just as an upgrade system. You can still find items with colored sockets, and you can craft them onto items. They are just rarer and more powerful. Most importantly, they don't restrict what can be socketed into them. So how are they more powerful? Well, if you were to find an item with, say, a green socket, you can put a green gem inside of it to get an additional quality bonus to that gem. This allows socket colors to be a purely positive outcome on an item, while not just simplifying the system away. You can also still change the color of sockets on your items using a chromatic orb, which now guarantees at least one red, blue, or green socket. This change will make it easier for everyone to upgrade items and maintain their build, especially while progressing. Speaking of builds and gems, we wanted to make sure we improve some of those, specifically for spellcasters. Let's get into that. Spellcasters have a large number of different skills to choose from, but often many skills play and scale in similar ways. We have done a pass through existing spells, differentiating spell damage types from each other. For example, Shadow's physical spells, like Ethereal Knives and Bladefall, now have a much higher critical strike chance than other spells at the expense of damage. Pure Lightning spells now all have generally higher cast speeds, but they cost more mana per second than other spells. We noticed that some of the Ascendancy classes for Shadow, Witch, and Templar were lacking options for general spellcasting, so we've added a new notable to the Assassin, the Occultist, and the Inquisitor. We are also introducing a new skill, Mana Infused Staff, that infuses your staff with arcane energy, raising your block chance and reducing the mana cost of your spells. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Plague series of supporter packs contains 7 exclusive microtransactions. Equipping the Plague weapon skin replaces the default appearance of your staff, sword, mace, or shield with a weapon that has been submerged in corrosive toxins. The Plague Rat Pet is the result of a nefarious experiment. When a unique enemy is nearby, it faints as a defensive mechanism to protect its fragile body so it can continue to spread disease. The metal of the Plague-Bearer armor set has corroded, and the cloth has begun to disintegrate from being exposed to such toxic elements. It includes the Plague-Bearer back attachment, which spreads disease across the ground in town areas, maximizing the chance of infection. A diseased swarm infects your weapon when using the Plague-Bearer weapon effect. Use it alongside the Erupting Pustule's rare finisher effect to spread vile and devastating disease to monsters you kill. Activating the Plague Wraith map device causes the plagued energy to flow from the chained being. Given the goal of spreading such illness is to end the lives of as many as possible, the map device tracks kills in kind, showing you the number of enemies killed in each map, sorted by rarity. Feel free to even pin the count of enemies slain in a map to the leaderboard at your leisure. Pair it with the Putrefying Portal to fully immerse yourself in the Plague Propagator experience. Both the map device and the portal emit such a potent putrefaction that even the birds flying overhead cannot survive, as they plummet to the ground around it. The Remedis Pack series also contains 7 exclusive microtransactions. The Remedis weapon skin changes the appearance of your staff, wand, scepter, or shield, with relics once used by the Order of the Remedis Knights against the Plague.
Meow, meow, meow.